Okay, this week we've seen some very troubling news coming out about French football. It concerns Lyon, or Olympique Lyonnais, to give it its full club title. They're facing bankruptcy and relegation from Ligue. They've got massive debts, 500 million in debt. And when I made the video in the summer discussing the issues and the crisis affecting French football, I knew that Bordeaux was basically on the verge, but when I did my research, I looked at it, and about half the French top flight could go out of business by the end of this season. That is the danger. And the other thing that was very noticeable is they don't have a TV deal domestically. One of the other things that has hurt French clubs' incomes is they've scrapped their League Cup, and that was before COVID. That was back in 2018. They scrapped what was their Coupe de Ligue, the League Cup. And in a league which is more reliant on gate receipts and fans in attendance, when you reduce the amount of games clubs are playing and reduce the size of the league to 18 teams, you reduce gate receipts because there's only so much you can raise ticket prices before fans stop turning up and empty seats are a thing. Oh wait, empty seats are a thing in French football because PSG have basically made the league uncompetitive because they've got bottomless wealth from Qatar. And that is part of the problem. When you've got clubs like Monaco, the second wealthiest club in French football, and Nice, who's partly owned by Sir Jim Radcliffe and the Ineos Group, these are very wealthy backed clubs. When they're saying we cannot compete on the same financial level that PSG are, we're going to have to basically reduce spending to stay afloat. It tells you there's a problem. Now, in Lyon's case, bad ownership has also contributed to the situation they are in. There's been a lot of stadium upgrades in France since the '98 World Cup, and Lyon's stadium has been upgraded. I believe it was upgraded for the women's. Was it the Women's World Cup in 2019? The Women's Euros? So Lyon Stadium has actually been upgraded since 1998. It's been upgraded a couple of times, and that has cost money. The club has pumped some money into that. But the ownership have made some really bad decisions. And again, we hark back to football club ownership and making sure the right people or the right investors are involved with clubs. We've seen a whole host of clubs across Europe with some really dodgy owners. It's not just an England problem or a Scotland problem, or UK problem. This is a Europe-wide problem with some really dodgy owners who should be nowhere near a football club. And in Lyon's case, that is the case. But at the same time, the French League has got rid of the League Cup, which has reduced gate receipts. Their league is a smaller top flight than other top flights across Europe. They've reduced the size of their top flight to 18 teams, which again, in a gate-driven league, which is more heavily reliant on gate receipts, because the TV deal, even before it collapsed, wasn't on the same value as any of the other TV deals across Europe. It hurts clubs. And when you've got one club basically dominating the competition, and therefore the prize money, PSG, who've got a bottomless pit of government wealth from Qatar, you've got a problem, a massive problem. And I can't see how Lyon are going to pay off this debt or restructure this debt in time for the end of the season. Regardless of where they finish in the league, they could win the league and still get relegated. That's the situation they find themselves in. It sums up the situation in French football. When I made the video in the summer discussing the financial crisis and the reasons why we're in this situation, about half the French top flight is basically teetering on the verge of bankruptcy. And still, the league president and the Football Federation president, they still haven't managed to negotiate a TV deal that is worth any money. So when it comes to professional sport in France, it's very, very interesting. So you have French football, you've got French Rugby Union, you've got a couple of clubs that play professional rugby league, you've got professional ice hockey, you've got the Tour de France, you've got motorsport. There's multiple sports. So when you look at the pie chart of what revenues you get in, it's almost like Trivial Pursuit with the little, cheese wedges. That's pretty much what the graph looks like in comparison to the other leagues where in other countries where the TV deal is heavily weighted towards football as the majority sport. For the most part, France's case, it's really it looks like if you play Trivial Pursuit, it looks like the little pie counter you get for your points. Basically, that's basically what the pie chart looks like. And with the collapse of the TV deal, that has actually reduced the TV revenues and the revenues that football makes in France significantly. Other sports in France do have really strong TV deals, both domestically and internationally, for what those sports bring in revenue and then merchandise sales. Ice hockey's got a better TV deal than French football. That tells you the situation that Liga and the lower leagues find themselves in, and the professional pyramid actually drops off a cliff after the second tier. You get into semi-pro status or amateur status. The depth in French football is not the same as in Italy, as in Germany, as in here in the UK and England and Scotland, and to a certain extent Wales, Spain, Portugal, the Netherlands, the Scandinavian leagues in Eastern Europe, the Swiss League, the Austrian League, you name it. They have much better structured professional and semi-pro pyramids and regional competitions, whereas France, it drops off a cliff after the second tier. The depth is not there, which surprises me that they continue to produce world-class players and world-class talent. I don't know how much longer French football can continue to do that if one of the biggest clubs in Lyon goes bust, because if that happens, I think the ripple effects that will be felt across not only the French top flight but potentially the French second tier will be profound. Now, Lyon is penciled in, doesn't matter what French club you are, as one of the biggest games, home and away, of the season. If they go belly up, that's going to really hurt other clubs as well. Again, Ligue, heavily reliant on gate receipts. And France has got an issue with attendance. France has got an issue with disorder at games and the hooligan ultra element, big disorder at games. A lot of games have been impacted by the hooligan element as well, which is keeping families away. It's keeping investors away. So French football is like what English football was like in the 70s and 80s. Not very popular for sponsors, not very popular for TV, poor attendances. The stadiums are world class. That's something France has got going for it. Is they've got world class facilities. Just everything else is crumbling, and that Lyon are facing bankruptcy and expulsion from Liga. And I honestly fear they won't get their debt under control and structured in a way which they can afford by the end of the season, especially without a TV deal in place, and no certainty of a TV deal for next season either. And as I say, this is a league that's got rid of its League Cup, which again, gate receipts reduces fans and attendance over a whole season. And with only an 18-team league, you have two less teams you play against home and away compared to other top flights across Europe. So they really are in a situation where no strong TV deal domestically, poor TV rights deal internationally that's not worth as much money as the other top European leagues. I think the Portuguese league and the Dutch league have got better domestic and international TV deals. That tells you something. Even the Scottish league, I think, has got a better TV deal than France, which is quite troubling. And it's basically become a one-team league because only one team can afford to pay players, and even they are starting to reduce their expenditure, partly to become compliant with the financial rules that UEFA wants to put in place. But I fear that Lyon could end up like Bordeaux, and then other clubs who may not have the same fan base size, because Lyon's a massive fan base, and may not have the same history, for example, could also go the same way. We could see Auxerre, we could see Montpellier, we could see Marseille, potentially even PSG. If this carries on, the French league could crumble, and then we could have a serious crisis that isn't just one or two clubs, but a domino effect. So we'll see what happens, but Olympique Lyonnais are facing bankruptcy and relegation from Ligue. So there we go. That's my views on it. They haven't changed since the summer when I made the video in the summer that went viral on the internet. And the outcomes are very worrying, because that ripple effect will not only affect France, it will affect other leagues across Europe because of how the transfer market works, how European club competition works, UEFA coefficient, how prize money is distributed, how TV rights internationally are worked out. This could have a massive impact across Europe, and so we'll have to see how it plays out, but it's troubling. Football's economy is broken, in my opinion. The way the French system deals with it is automatic relegation rather than points deduction, but even so, each country has its own administration rules and systems, but a club the size of Lyon going bust is not good news for the rest of European football. So there we go. Thank you very much for watching. Place your thoughts on Olympique Lyonnais' situation and French football in the comments section below. I'm very interested to hear what you guys have to say. But for me for now, thank you very much for watching. I will have some more content for you guys very, very soon.